Hundreds gathered in Tacoma tonight calling for justice for Manuel Ellis, an unarmed black man killed by officers in March. They also honored George Floyd, killed by officers in Minnesota, and Breonna Taylor, shot and killed by Kentucky police in her own home. Good evening. Welcome to King 5 News at 11. I'm Mark Wright.
I'm Jessica Janner Castro. King 5's Greg Copeland has more on the rally and the mayor's call for action.
Earlier today, hundreds of people gathered behind me, filling these stairs at UW Tacoma. They want to be a part of something bigger. They not only want to create change here in their own community, but change across the country. They expected dozens, but hundreds turned out today.
And thank you so much for coming out. It's been a little bit overwhelming, the response that we've got, in a good way.
Jasmine Sims grew up in Tacoma and lives just blocks from where Manuel Ellis died in police custody 3 months ago.
It's one thing to see a hashtag online, but it's another thing to, see someone that's right here in your community that people know.
Witness Sarah McDowell released cell phone video of March's violent arrest this week.
They're yelling at him to put his hands behind his back, but I can see the cop, they're like on top of him. Both of them are on top of him.
That video sparked outrage across the city and at City Hall. Last night, Mayor Victoria Woodards, an African-American, called for the officers involved to be fired and prosecuted to the full extent of the law. The police unions fired back, demanding due process. Today, Mayor Woodards stood her ground.
I am handling all of this while still holding high regard for our police officers who we ask to do a difficult job every day. But it's time to change the way they do their work.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
Today's march here in Tacoma, one of many yet to come, as communities all around the country push for change.
It's just been really encouraging to see people out here, and it just really is reconfirming to me to know that my community does have a voice and wants to be heard.
And so far this week, that voice in Tacoma has been a loud one. In Tacoma tonight, Greg Copeland, King 5 News.
Greg, thank you. Tonight, Governor Jay Inslee pledged there will be an independent review of Ellis's death per the Tacoma mayor's request, writing, quote, "We know that Manuel Ellis was one of far, far too many black men who died while in police custody in America, including here in Washington state." Following the Pierce County prosecutor's investigation, Inslee said the state attorney general and Washington State Patrol will review the case. But the Pierce County prosecutor says that could cause delays and is now calling for the AG to be involved in the initial investigation.
The Seattle Police Department has suspended its use of tear gas for 30 days. We asked Police Chief Carmen Best why 30 days.
We want to make sure that we allow the time for the accountability partners to take a look at all of those processes and give us the most well-informed advice on what we should do going forward.
All three of Seattle's police oversight agencies, the Community Police Commission, the Office of Police Accountability, and the Office of Inspector General, all recommended the department stop using tear gas indefinitely. Chief Best said the department will also review the use of crowd control tactics and chokeholds.
Bellevue Police Chief tonight is changing department policy after this video from 2018 surfaced on Twitter. It shows an officer taking a woman to the ground and threatening to render her unconscious. The department told us the officer pulled her over at the Factoria Mall for failing to transfer the title to her car. Now, they claim she was uncooperative with the officer, kept the car in gear, and was reaching into her purse. That's when Officer Will Dowsing took her down and put her into what's called a neck restraint.
I get it. I understand. When I first saw the video, I raised my eyebrows and I said, hang on a second. In the interaction as they're doing this dance with each other, he felt something here in her waist that he believed it could be a weapon. She continued in his report anyway. He described that she continued to go for her waist. He told her not to do that.
Police Chief Steve Milet has now suspended the use of so-called neck restraints unless officers find themselves in a situation that calls for deadly force. So earlier today, we talked with Bob Scales. He's the CEO of Police Strategies. It's a Seattle data science company that advises police departments on use of force. Here's what he had to say about that arrest in Bellevue.
I estimate that about half the agencies in the country allow a technique called a lateral neck restraint or a carotid restraint or a lateral vascular neck restraint to be used. And that technique is when the officer, as in the Bellevue video, when the officer puts the person's neck in the middle of their arm, and then they're able to constrict the neck so that the airway is not damaged, but the blood flow to the brain is cut off momentarily. And then if the officer decides to render the person unconscious, they will lose consciousness for a few seconds, and that will enable the officer to handcuff the subject.
So he's describing that carotid hold. Scales says agencies across the country have banned chokeholds that block the airway.
This is the CD. Say, this is the CD.
A community rally put on by the community organization Africatown Seattle brought a large crowd to the Central District today. King 5's Tony Black is live for us in front of the old Fire Station 6, and it's a fire station that has a lot of significance, Tony.
Yeah, good evening to you. It does indeed. It actually should be an innovation center. That's something that the community here has worked out with the Seattle City Council, but right now it's mostly just a spot where parking enforcement people park their vehicles. But outside of that, today's rally was really about honoring Black lives that were lost, honoring the Black lives that are still alive, and helping Black lives thrive.
Like Nipsey said, we need some real reparations.
Friday in Seattle's Central District, a community-led rally and teach-in.
Breonna Taylor, say her name!
Honoring the lives of Breonna Taylor, who would be 27 years old Friday, George Floyd, and the numerous other Black and brown people who have been killed.
We need to throw out the old system. We no longer can stand by and hope for change and wait for change.
We want to activate this to bring money into our community.
Outside of the old fire station on 23rd and Yesler, organizers announced the King County Equity Now campaign while addressing city leaders with their demands.
The decommissioned fire station, former Fire Station 6 on 23rd and Yesler, to become the William Grove Center for Enterprise and Cultural Innovation. The currently vacant Sound Transit properties on Martin Luther King and Alaska Way to be transferred back to the community, which Sound Transit is supposed to do.
Another demand to take half of Seattle Police Department's budget and invest some of it back into the Black community.
So Seattle Mayor and City Council redistribute $180 million from the Seattle Police Department budget directly to accountable, transparent, grassroots, community-based Black organization. Pay the fee! Pay the fee!
That was the big message here tonight, was about equity. People in this community, we want our own opportunities to decide how we live, where we live in regards to housing, education, and the betterment of Black lives. If you would like to learn more about their demands to support or to sign up, you can visit their website, which is now live. It is kingcountyequitynow.com. Here in the Central District, I'm Tony Black, King 5 News.
All right, Tony, thank you. Time now for the Fast Five on King 5. School officials at Western Washington University in Bellingham are warning about an increase in racist activity. Someone posted white supremacist flyers on light poles around the campus. Neighbors have also reported flyers on their doorsteps. Staff at Swedish medical centers across Puget Sound knelt in a moment of silence today to recognize the Black Lives Matter movement. Tomorrow, healthcare workers plan to march from Harborview Medical Center to City Hall to raise awareness about racial inequality. Seattle's Mayor Jenny Durkan is encouraging all protesters to get tested for COVID-19. The city opened 2 free sites this week. You do not need ID or insurance. Governor Jay Inslee has given the green light for pro sports to resume in Washington. All pro sports, including team operations up to 50 people in King County, can resume as of tonight, regardless of the phase. Chris Egan will have more in sports coming up in a bit. And some local malls are reopening. Tomorrow, Pacific Place Mall in downtown Seattle will welcome back shoppers. South Hill Mall in Puyallup will also reopen on Monday. Both malls are encouraging people to keep socially distanced, and they have stepped up cleaning procedures as well.
Still ahead, the president draws criticism for saying George Floyd would be happy with the latest jobs report today.
It's a great day for him. It's a great day for everybody.
Plus, local 4th graders putting together their own protest over racial inequality.
It's been, oh my gosh, it's been amazing.
And as more people vow to be a part of social change, Black-owned businesses experiencing an outpouring of support.